Yo, get ready. Gladiator II is coming out November 22nd, and I saw it, and man, you guys are going to be obsessed. This movie is fire. In the words of Paul Mescal, it definitely wears the honor and legacy of the first film with so much intense pride. I mean, I was absolutely blown away by this movie. I loved it so, so much. Had to move my face so I wasn't covering hottie over here, Pedro Pascal. But man, I mean, first of all, this movie has so many hotties. Like, girls, get ready. Guys, it is so hot. This movie is definitely going to be up for Best Picture. It could even win Best Picture. If anything, I actually pray to the Roman gods and goddesses that Ridley Scott wins Best Director for this film because of how epic it is and the scale of it. I mean, think of the movie Cleopatra from back in the day, 500 extras. Like, this is the bloody costume movie that we have been wanting and craving and waiting for. And Ridley Scott has never won Best Director after having directed 20 movies, like Thelma and Louise, and including the original Gladiator. So I think what's going to happen to him is what happened to Francis Ford Coppola, who didn't win Best Director for The Godfather, but ended up winning Best Director for The Godfather 2. But man, does Ridley deserve it. And so does Paul Mescal. I mean, Paul Mescal, to me, just blows me away, aside from his beautiful face aesthetically and his just insane charm that Pedro Pascal also happens to have. I mean, these two together in a movie is just chef's kiss. But his trajectory is so insane to me. Paul Mescal starred in the Hulu famous popular series Normal People, which we all know and love him from. And that was his first ever TV role, and he was nominated for an Emmy for it. And then he was in a movie called After Sun, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. He's extraordinary in it. His first ever movie, he's nominated for an Oscar. And now he is leading a Ridley Scott film. I mean, this doesn't happen. I don't know why my voice just cracked just now, but I'm so excited for him. And when I was reading about the casting directors on this movie, and because they were considering other actors for the lead role aside from Paul, but they noticed Paul on Normal People, and they had a good feeling about him, but were nervous that maybe he hadn't played any sports. They were kind of thinking, can this guy actually be a gladiator? Which I think is what most people are going to think when they go to the theater. That's what I was thinking in the seat. I'm like, we've seen Paul sort of play more melancholic characters, very Irish nature of him. Can he rise up to be a gladiator? And he told them that he played Irish rugby, and I think that and sort of his Oscar nomination for After Sun really sealed the deal. I think they had decided he was in Gladiator before the Oscar nomination, but anyways, I am just rambling. The Oscar nom definitely sealed the deal. And so while I was sitting in this film, I was like, wow, he really built up this rage that Lucius has, right? Lucius is the son of Maximus, Russell Crowe's character from the original film. And that is not a spoiler. If you've seen a trailer, that is the trailer. It's in the trailer. But man, he really built up the rage, and you see how he sort of becomes like his father. And man, just like he said, this really carries intense honor and legacy for the first film. I love Pedro Pascal in it. I actually wanted more of him. The opening scene is just, it's so epic in scale. They shot it for 9 days in Malta. I shared an interview clip that Paul Mescal shared at the screening tonight that you should check out on my Instagram. But Paul's basically saying that Ridley Scott came up to him the first day before they were shooting the first scene that's actually in the movie. And he was like, "Are you nervous?" And Paul was like, he didn't really know how to answer it. And he just kind of gave him a slap in the back and was like, "Your nerves are no fucking good to me." And I don't know, they just absolutely nailed this. It was beautiful to see Connie Nielsen in this film, again, from the first one. And the costuming is insane. The emperors, the twins, are so devilishly just evil and treacherous. And there's so much treachery in this one, just like the first one. And there's so much violence. This was a movie where a lot of the time I was like, I don't know if I want to see this. And Denzel Washington, I'm trying to be careful about what I say about his character, but man, what a ride you go on with that character. And of course, Denzel just brings absolute presence and scene stealing to everything that he is in. But what I loved about this film is that not only does it honor the first film so beautifully, but it is completely its own story. And it did lead me in ways where I didn't know what was going to happen. And I was sort of worried about that predictability. But the action is insane. I mean, Ridley Scott built Rome, like in a city. I think they shot it in Morocco and Malta, but over 8 kilometers, he like built a city of Rome, which is crazy. And I think they built a Colosseum too, in an old amphitheater in Malta. But what I was so shocked by was how much practicalness was in this film. You know, it's like they're like real ships. And remember from the first movie, they used 4 real tigers, even though some scenes had CGI. And very similar to this one, the baboons that you see in the trailer, I didn't really care for. I mean, those are like so obviously CGI to me, but everything else was so grounded and like lived in. And the costumes are just stunning and regal and bold and just, man, it like makes you feel like you are there. It really is crazy. I was shocked to find out that in the trailer, you know, you see there's a scene where they're recreating a watership battle scene in the Colosseum. And back in the day in Rome, Romans actually used to do that. They would put water in the Colosseum and like reenact battles. Like in just crazy things. Like, are you not entertained? I was also worried going into this film that Hans Zimmer didn't come back to do the score on this film. We all obviously love Hans Zimmer. And I was like, I don't know. Is the music going to be as good? Maybe the film's amazing. Maybe the script's amazing. Maybe the costumes are amazing. But is the score going to be amazing? And the score is amazing. I'm telling you guys, finally, we have a movie that you guys have to see in theater. This has to be experienced on the big screen. Watch this on the biggest screen ever in IMAX, November 22nd. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can share about this film. Also, if you love swords, you will be there's so much good sword choreographed fighting. And yeah, I mean, just the story of the Gladiator and Lucius's story is beautiful. And Maximus, you know, Russell's character that we all know and love, does have a presence in this movie. So if you are a fan of the first Gladiator, I think I can confidently say you will be very happy with this movie. It is a very short 2 hours and 48 minutes. And I also want to share that I did not feel the length of this film. Finally, right? Have we not been waiting for this? Like, I was glued to the edge of my seat. Literally, I would move closer in my seat during certain scenes. I didn't feel like scenes were dragged out for any reason. I felt like every scene served a purpose. And man, that ending, that's all I got to say. Let me know what you guys think about Gladiator 2 when you see it. Let me know how excited, are you going to see it? Are you excited to see it? Are you happy with this casting? Tell me all your thoughts in the comments. And that is it. That's it for me for now. Love you.